Christina Tournatzés, and I'm the director of Cargo. Yes, and it absolutely was. The film was shot in Hungary, so I never shot in another country. Plus, the complexity of this topic, it concludes 3 different languages. The main dialogue is in Bulgarian. The refugees they speak Arabic, and just a little bit of English is spoken, and that English is the only language that I understand. So I remember when I met the actors on set like 2 days before the shoot and that was very exciting because we of course had Skype meetings before, but we didn't know each other. So and I didn't know how this was gonna work because when shooting the scenes, I know I wouldn't understand them, right? So, and I remember when I sat down with Jordan, the role of Menko, in a cafe in Hungary, and we translated the whole dialogue into Bulgarian because it was just in English. Because it made me very angry when I heard in the news that 71 people died inside a truck only because they wanted to come to Germany. That's a horrible story. So I felt like this is such a big injustice, and I wanted to speak out. I wanted to do something to give them a voice because it felt like, of course, it was big in the news, and it was my hope that after such a terrible event, something would change, but nothing happened. And then when 2 years later, the trial was in Hungary, and it was again in the papers, and it hit me that nothing had changed. And that's when I read about the telephone recordings in the paper, and that's when I made the decision to make this film because nothing had changed. And I love Europe, and I feel that I'm very privileged to grow up and live here, but how we are handling the refugee crisis is not right, and it makes me feel ashamed. When I started to make this film, all I had was 1.5 pages real dialogue from the audio recordings of the phone conversations between the smugglers. So that was very exciting because I knew what happened during the driver drove the truck through Hungary, because they were in constant phone contact. And I wanted to take this real dialogue and make it as authentic as possible, you know, to write the scenes around it so that the essence, which is the real dialogue, will still be there. A lot of the scenes when the smugglers talk to each other over the phone are real dialogue, and that was very exciting because also during the shoot I felt like, wow, this happened like this, like the smugglers spoke like that. The actual route of the truck was from South Hungary through Hungary over Budapest to Vienna. we didn't drive down to South Hungary and shot the whole route, because this would have been a 5-hour drive. Of course, we only used the part of the Autobahn directly before the border in Hungary. So we used the very same emergency bay that the smugglers used and that the truck was found in 2015. Well, as a filmmaker, you can never know if you can really affect opinions and change opinions and affect change through your movie. And but that for me is not a reason not to do it, because of course I have the hope that people will think about stuff after watching a movie and maybe get informed or make some research or at least think about it, you know. And that's part of the reason that I made this film, is because I think that we hear a lot of stuff in the news every day. We hear about the big injustice and refugees and stories that we don't have the faces to, and it's always very abstract, and we cannot really get in touch with these stories emotionally. Yeah, and with this film, of course, I'm trying to emotionalize this topic. Plus, what was very, very important to me, probably one of the most important things, is that I tried to shoot the scenes inside the truck with the refugees like the audience or the viewer would sit inside the truck with them. So you are always on the same eye level, the camera is always on the same eye level. It's not looking down at them, it's not looking up, it's same. That was very important, and you get the feeling it's very close, and you get the feeling that you are inside the truck. So what I try to do with this is to make the audience feel like they are people like you and me, which they are. It wasn't easy, and before the shoot I told Matthias, my producer, that I would need a dolmetscher, and he started laughing at me saying, well, we cannot afford a dolmetscher, good luck. So you will have to do it without one. And I did, and it worked. It was very exciting journey, I guess, that we all took together. I met most of the people, like probably half the crew and all the actors. I met them 2 days before the shoot in Hungary on the location. So, and during the scenes, when we were shooting the scenes, most of the scenes I didn't understand a word that the actors were saying to each other, and I had to trust them that they were choosing the right words. On the day, on the shooting day where we shot the scenes inside the truck with the refugees, and what I remember most is that we shot the doors, and I of course wanted a truck that is exactly or very similar to that truck that was used from the smugglers, and that's a truck that is usually used for meat transportation, frozen meat transportation. So it's basically a freezer, and it's isolated so that it can be a freezer. So if you close the doors, there is no air coming in or out, and that's exactly why they died. A lot of the scenes were improvised because I didn't really know how this would work out, with working also with so many extras. And the only actors inside the truck was the mother with the child, and all the other people were just extras hired from Budapest. But what I remember is that always when we closed the doors and we shot for 5 minutes, and we had very long shots because I just wanted to keep the camera rolling to, you know, get into this atmosphere and into the feeling of thriving together for so long and being so close to another. And after 5 minutes, when the doors were closed and we were shooting, everybody was sweating and we were soaked in sweat, and it was so hot and unbelievable, and the air was really low, and it was crazy how we all felt like, whoa, and this is after 5 minutes. So it got very real for us, and everybody of us was very sad, and just we all had the feeling that what we are doing is we all wanted the same thing. We wanted to tell the story. Also the extras, and a lot of them came to me after the shoot and told me that they are so happy that I chose this story to be told, and that I wanted to tell a story like from this perspective also, and so close to the reality. And this was such an important film for me as a German person, because a lot of them were from Afghanistan, some of them were from Egypt, some of them were from Syria. So a lot of them really had this refugee background and are now based in Budapest. So some of them knew how a flea is, and they were really happy that I wanted to tell a story, and they were very proud to be part of it. At last, of course, I want to thank everybody, like the whole crew and the actors, that we were such a great team, and we did make this film happen, and everybody took a part of it in it that is very irreplaceable, and I couldn't have done it with all the people in this film. So thank you, and I am very proud that we made this together. Yeah. Thanks.